This character is so different from the rough and tumble guys we usually see you play. So, what attracted you to playing this bookish guy?
Well, I like that he's a family man, and I like that he's more of an average person dealing with extraordinary events, you know, in history at the time, 30s, 40s, in Germany. And yeah, he is more passive on the surface than a lot of characters I've played. He's not a guy who's that comfortable in a uniform, or he's not an action character. But he's not entirely passive. There's a really rich, interesting, you know, internal life that he has, and some of it's not passive, some of it's active. He really, at some point, realizes he's doing the wrong thing, but he keeps doing it anyway, because it suits his ego, because the paycheck, because of peer pressure, because of the society he's in. Well, it's just easier to go along. And I mean, we all do that at times. In relationships, in our families, on sports teams, in school, in society, you know. It's not just, I think that's the strength of this movie. It's not just about Germans. In other words, you're not let off the hook as an audience member and you go, well, yeah, the Germans are crazy. Of course they did that. Never happened here. I would never do that. But by making this story be about regular people, not generals, not Hitler, you can see how a person would, step by step, go along with certain things or turn a blind eye to what's happening, because you don't have the full picture. You know, most of the movies that are made about the Nazis, they're made with hindsight, knowing where it leads to. So you have this sense that they're really evil, or that they have to have some heroic gesture at the end, go down in flames fighting for what's right in spite of all that we know is wrong. This is about people that didn't know, you know, like the swastika at the time in the 30s. That was just the flag of the country.
Right.
It didn't have all the connotations that we give it now, Auschwitz, etc. So you can kind of, you see this, especially the first half of the movie, and you think, well, yeah, I can see, you know, he's a professor, he's asked to not teach a certain author. Well, there's a lot of authors, and maybe I'll get to teach that author again a year from now. Pick your battles, you know. I don't want to get fired over this. Okay, all right. I've given some token resistance, said, well, I don't think that's right, but okay, for the record, I think this is wrong, but okay, you know, and okay, and wear a pin, and write a paper, and suddenly you find yourself in a uniform going, what the hell did I do?
Well, what would you do as Viggo if you lived in that time? How do you think you would have behaved?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't say for certain. I'd like to believe that I wouldn't go as far as he did, but I can't be sure. And I think that's something I really like about this movie, that you quickly jump from wondering, as you do with any decent, you know, period story, historical drama, where you think, well, now if I were there then, what would I have done if I were John Halder? You quickly jump to, what am I doing now? What's happening here right now? In what way do I compromise, or do I lie to myself, or do I not say to my wife, my husband, my son, you know, my friends, do I not tell them what I'm really thinking? In what way am I lying to myself, and how much of that is okay? How many compromises do you make? What battles do you pick, you know? Only you know if you're being honest with yourself. Only I know if I'm being really honest with myself. And there are moments in the story where he knows he's on the wrong track.
So how did this film affect you afterwards? How did it change you?
Well, sometimes you don't know that for years, but I did know one thing as we were making it. That's that because of all that we know about the Nazis and the Germans at the time, because half of my family's in Denmark, which was an occupied country, and I've heard stories from my aunts and uncles and my dad, I had an attitude about Germans, a prejudice about them. You know, I mean, I speak several languages, and I'm interested in languages. I can read a German paper slowly. I can more or less figure it out. Yet I don't speak German, and I realize I don't want to speak German. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't even like being in Germany. Why is that? Maybe I don't need to look at things that way. And by playing a German and trying to be honest about it, I sort of got past that. So that is something I got out of it.
That's interesting.
You know, Germans are people too. You know what I mean?
That's the tagline.
Germans are people too. Yeah, that would be a good one.
I think I'll end on that.
All right. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to use that.
It's a good one. Wackadoo, wackadoo. You could do like
Germans
the
are
whole Sesame
people
Street.
too.